All right, everybody, it's our favorite time of the week again when we get to answer a few of your questions. Sagar, what do we got?
All right, let's go with the very first one. So we have Keith. Sorry, Keith.
It's a very strange name. It's Keith.
I was like, Keith. All right.
Keith
Kemp. Best president of your lifetime. The question is mainly for Crystal. For all of his faults, Joe Biden is Joe Biden the best president of your lifetime as a progressive? He ended the war in Afghanistan. He installed a strong NLRB and FTC. He brought jobs back, among other things.
Yeah.
Admittedly, the bar is low, but I think he's been better than Obama or Clinton. Sagar, feel free to chime in.
Yeah, I mean, bar is low, et cetera, but I have to agree. I think the areas in particular, and you name check these here, that have been important is rethink of antitrust policy, which is something, of course, Matt Stoller has followed very closely, and he's put some, really key people in place there that have been pretty effective in challenging corporate power in some instances. And then you also have, an effective NLRB. That has really been taking some aggressive pro-worker stances as well. Those are really important. Having the stones to withdraw from Afghanistan. Now, he undid some of that good work by then, withholding their money and helping to trigger a massive crisis there. But still, kudos for doing what, Obama and then Trump could not do. So I think and the other thing that I would point to here is the very early dabbling in industrial policy, which really amounts to a significant break from the neoliberal era, especially when you compare that to Obama, who was trying to get, us into TPP. And now you have a more aggressive stance in terms of reclaiming some of our national economic power and capability and capacity in terms of Joe Biden. Again, it's nibbling around the edges at this point, but it does represent a significant shift. So yeah, I have to say that he has been the best, even though it may be a low bar.
There you go. Good answer.
All right, next one, we've got Crystal's background as a CPA. Hey guys, love the show. Crystal has mentioned working in accounting as a CPA, but is reluctant to talk about it. I'm not really reluctant to talk about it, but whatever. How has that experience shaped your worldview and helped your journalism career? Are there any skills you learned from getting a CPA you still use today? So I was for a brief period, officially a certified public accountant, did the tests, passed the thing and whatever. But I never really worked as an accountant. I worked for a government contractor who designed accounting systems. So that was my relationship to accounting. So it was different than I wasn't doing anybody's taxes or anything like that. However, in order obviously to prepare for the CPA exam, which is quite an extensive process in and of itself, you learn a lot about tax policy, and you learn a lot. You become more sort of fluent with corporate balance sheets and understanding some of these, financial terms, et cetera. So it has definitely helped me in that sense to understand complex tax issues, to understand complex economic issues that we delve into a lot here. So in that way, it has been useful.
Well, it's also useful for our business because I'm always like, what do you think? These stupid... You guys have
how useful it's been there. I usually defer to you on those questions.
Certainly. But I need somebody to at least check that what the hell we're doing is going to be okay. So what a nightmare taxes are, but that's a whole other discussion for another day.
State taxes for a podcast,
you would not fucking believe.
So well, because I don't know. I really want to know if other podcasts are doing.
They're definitely not. They're not.
Yeah.
The problem is that open kimono here. We are just so worried about because look, we want the business to be big in the future, and if you don't do what you're supposed to do right now, then you'll get retroactively come out. You have to plan for success.
We want to do it right. We don't want anyone to have any allegation that we're not paying what we're supposed to be paying. So yeah, we make sure, because the complication is, okay, technically we have customers in all 50 states, but how do we know which are where and what's the...
Which we don't.
Anyway, so it's complex. But I guess my background as a CPA has helped me at least to understand the contours of what the challenges are there.
Blame the Supreme Court. All right. Merchandise needs a revamp. Number 3. Enormous fan of the show. I love you guys. Well, I know it's not the top of your mind. You guys' merch store needs some love. I would love a Breaking Points quote, mug, or sweater. Sagar, a big clown, or what are we even talking about here? I guess I say that a lot. I didn't think about that. Also would love to see the Breaking Points multiverse merch. Lowest thing on anyone's mind, but looking to share my love of the show and get some useful things. P.S. Sagar, love the beard. Thank you very much, sir. Yes, we agree with you. So as we have intimated a million times, we have a new studio coming, new logo, new design package, and all of that. Merch, well, that will also be completely revamped. You will have a ton more options. It's all made in the USA, all union. It took so much work to set up all of that stuff, so shout out to our staff and specifically Griffin for helping out and taking the meetings on that. We will get to that, I absolutely promise you, and it will all launch at the same time. So get ready.
What does this mean, Breaking Point, quote, mug or sweater?
I think he means like the Indeed We Do thing, or like the Beclown.
Oh, yeah, so like one of our quotes that we say every day.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
I got you.
Yeah,
I
that's
got
what
you.
I'm assuming.
I'm with you.
Okay.
I like it. All right, next question from Michael Burns, Sleep Tech.
Oh.
Hey, Sagar, this one's for you. I know you're way into improving your health. Do you delve into sleep tech at all? I've been using the Aura ring, is that how you say that?
Aura ring, yeah.
For the last few years, and not sure how accurate it is. There is a new device called Apollo. Wanted to see if you know anything about that. Also is curious if you have a sleep tracker that you like to use.
Yeah, so I've heard about the Apollo Sleep Band. I am dubious of it simply because it doesn't have multifunctionality and it costs
what's it supposed to do?
money. It's like basically a sleep tracker, and it supposedly helps boost your HRV, your heart rate variability. And there's not enough studies on all that stuff to actually back any of that up. So I would just caution you for before you sign up to do any of that. I will say I do use the Whoop Band religiously to track my sleep and all of that. But really what I would recommend sleep-wise is everybody get a cooling device for your mattress. There are expensive options like 8 Sleep. 8 Sleep is probably the most expensive one on the market. You can get some deals and all that, but you can go on Amazon. You can get one of these things for like $100. It's not going to be super fancy, but it is hands down one of the best investments that you will make in order to help your sleep.
Really?
Because, most people sleep far too hot. Really should sleep in a much cooler environment. It prevents you from being able to, from waking up as much in the middle of the night. Temperature regulation is one of the main things on whether you're going to get good sleep or not. It's part of the reason why, how nobody ever sleeps well in a hotel?
Yeah.
There are a variety of reasons for that, which is that you're sleeping in an unfamiliar environment, but a lot of it is temperature. A lot of the times people are not thinking about what the temperature is. Or have you ever, when you go camping, you sleep outside, you're sleeping differently.
Yeah.
You can eventually get used to it, but I've slept a lot in places with no air conditioning or outside or all that. It's a complete, like the transition period can take a long time, and a lot of it. And also, as you notice, you don't use blankets and all that stuff when you're outside. You have usually like a sheer thin layer that you can moderate sleep with your hands and your feet. I think like 30 or 40% of your temperature is controlled by that axis. Part of the reason why whenever people are hot, they put their one foot
leg out
outside of the, that's all temperature. That's part of the reason why. So a cooling mattress can help regulate you all throughout the night. I really, really recommend it. Changed the way I sleep like completely.
Might have to check that out.
Yeah. All right.
Last one.
James Z, legalize gambling. Hi, Crystal and Sagar. I recently had my state legalize sports betting. I have never seen such an intense media campaign for news outlets, local government officials on both sides of the aisle, and the sports leagues themselves. My question is, do you see this trend of more legalized gambling across the country as becoming the next societal crisis, especially as the economy continues to look more dire for working class Americans? Thank you, and it was great seeing you in Boston. Thank you, James. What do you think?
Well, I mean, if you're asking if I think it might be a societal crisis, we already have so many addictive potential,
Right.
people who are addicted to it, they've already had plenty of outlets for that. There's, video game addiction, there's sex addiction, drug addiction. Like, we already have lots of addictions. So I don't know that this is going to significantly escalate the level of addictive behavior in terms of our society. And I'm certainly in favor of legal tax and regulate, just like with drugs. So I think, even though the part that troubles me is the intense profit motive at the center of it. And so I would be in favor of, really being careful about where and how it's advertised. Of course, I would be more in favor of it being run by government bodies. So at least the taxpayer is benefiting from it.
That's what I was going to get to. And this is kind of gets my whole thing on the weed debate, which is you're okay, on a conceptual level, possible. But on the practical level, what has happened? You have intense regulatory capture by DraftKings, by Penn Gaming, and a few other of these major companies. They basically come in and legalize themselves by lobbying the state legislature.
Right.
They set the bar for legalized gambling such that only they qualify under the eyes of the law.
Right.
And then they make a killing by partnering with all of these sports leagues and sports shows and all that other stuff that are out there. part of the reason why I'm dubious of this is I know a lot of guys who are really into sports gambling. And look, I think that's fine if you have the means, but if you don't have the means, we're talking about, a guy like Robinhood people who leverage themselves up to the hilt and they have no idea, that they're even doing that. And next thing you know, they owe thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, I'm not saying options trading or any of that is occurring, but I've dabbled in DraftKings, and some of the stuff on here is incomprehensible, like 9-way parlay bets, like extra $5 stuff that you're on there, and it's just so easy to click there, but this is real money that's involved. I just don't really care. Like, I think I bet like on one game of the World Series, so I'm like, whatever. Same with March Madness. But when you're talking about people who are betting every single day, people betting on sports that they don't even know, I think that's difficult. I know that the UK has been the leader in sports gambling, and I think we should probably adopt some of their best practices that they have, where they have been able to keep a lid on it as far as like a thing they recognize is not necessarily the best, but keeping it highly regulated, available, can like wet the beak, like if you will, has like protections in place to stop gambling, whereas I have used the DraftKings interface. I can tell you right now, like, it is the easiest thing in the world if you want to. You could place a bet in 5 seconds. You don't even know anything. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't know anything about the UK's gambling regulatory regime, but I mean, in general, my principles here are adults should be able to do what they want to do, but there should be protections in place from the worst predations of the industry.
Yeah,
that's my view.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
All right, guys, we love you. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.